Hello everyone. Based on last week's episode, I've been flooded with questions about why it is that successful people and unsuccessful people continue to find each other. This is the quintessential match. The match between the successful catch and the absolute loser. One could argue that success and lack of success is just a matter of perspective, but if we took on that particular perspective, we would have nothing to talk about. So for the sake of this particular video, let's assume that success means someone whose actions and choices demonstrates a passion about their progression, and as a result they have become financially successful and have attained both personal and career achievements. Let's assume that unsuccessful means someone whose actions and choices demonstrates apathy about their progression, and as a result they have become financially unsuccessful and have atrophied on a personal and career level. So what is it that makes successful and unsuccessful people such a brilliant match for each other? The answer is super low self-worth. Successfuls are achievers. If you are an achiever, you're an achiever because you were expected to achieve. Achievers were raised in circumstances where they were only praised for what they did. They were only praised for success. As a result, they feel as if they have to earn the praise they get, and thus earn love. Successful people only got praise when they were impressing someone. The rest of the time they were either ignored or were treated like a burden. Your parents, if you're an achiever, often saw you as the difficult, strong-willed child, and instead of treating you like you were cherished, your parents treated you like you were something to put up with. You go on to try to earn love from your parents and then from society by achieving. You try to accomplish in the hopes that the accomplishment will make you worthy of love. You have a very poor sense of self-worth, and deep down, you do not believe that you deserve the love that you want. You believe that love is a transaction. And so subconsciously, you believe that if you are not offering enough through the way you look or the things you do for someone or the social status you give them or the money you make, there is no incentive on the other end to stay. By securing a partner that has a lot to gain by being in the relationship, you can guarantee that you will not be abandoned. Subconsciously, you believe that if a person was as successful as you were, or even more successful, there would be no incentive for them to stay and be an all-in partner. Also, if you were to be with a responsible, successful, attractive partner, you feel that you would suddenly be demoted and look bad in comparison. Being with them would make you more aware of your shortcomings, and your self-worth would sink even lower. To begin with, when you first get into a relationship, you feel secure because you feel as if you can trust the commitment of your lesser partner. But after time, this relationship begins to sour. It starts to sour because it puts all of the pressure on you. Instead of feeling valued and supported, you begin to feel like you have caught a parasite. The apathy of your lesser partner has saddled you with all the responsibility, and all it takes for you to lose interest in this person completely is for them to settle into the relationship. When they settle and no longer put effort into themselves or you start to feel taken for granted. As for the unsuccessfuls are self-sabotagers. They're self-sabotagers because they were sabotaged. More often than not, if you are an unsuccessful, you had parents who only gave you love when you were meeting their needs and wants. You were discouraged from finding your own success. Secretly, you resent that your life has to revolve around other people and what they want and what they need, but you don't know any other way to live, and you don't know any other way to get love. You have been discouraged so much and disappointed so much that you figure, why try? Deep down, you don't believe that you have what it takes to succeed, and subconsciously, you'd rather not try. You'd rather say that you could have succeeded than try to succeed and fail, and instead thus find out that you are really incapable and actually are a complete loser. Your life is a self-fulfilling prophecy, where your apathy is accomplishing the very thing you are trying to avoid by not trying. To you, love is a transaction. Subconsciously, you believe that if you are not living your life for someone, you do not serve a purpose to them, and so there is no incentive for them to stay with you. By securing a partner who needs you to cater to them, You can guarantee that you will not be abandoned. Subconsciously, you believe that if a person did not need you to support them and their success for any reason, there would be no incentive for them to stay with you. To begin with, when you first get into a relationship, you feel secure in that relationship because you feel as if you can trust the fact that you fulfill a role and serve a purpose for your greater partner. You also tend to sell yourself as different than you actually are. You talk a big game about the things that you want to accomplish, about your ambitions. But pretty soon, things start to go south. When your partner recognizes that your walk doesn't match your talk, they start to get angry. They start to criticize you, and this decreases your self-confidence. Suddenly, you feel as if you actually are a parasite. Deep down, you feel guilty. Deep down, you feel bad about yourself. And all that needs to happen is for your partner to begin criticizing you, for you to feel as if you're being taken for granted and taken advantage of. If you are a successful who continues to date what we would call in society losers, you need to ask yourself this question. What bad thing would happen if I were to date someone who is responsible, successful, and attractive? You will find that the successful often feels that if they were to find a good match for themselves, one that was equal or greater to themselves, that there would be absolutely no incentive for that particular person to stay with them. Successfuls feel as if they are inherently unlovable for a great many reasons. Because of this, it's important for you to ask yourself, what is it about me that is so inherently unacceptable that a successful, responsible, attractive person wouldn't put up with it? You might find that the very things you think make you unacceptable are the very things your parents thought made you unacceptable when you were a child. For example, if a mother tells her daughter, if it weren't for your good looks, no one would put up with your moods, she is bound to think a good catch won't put up with her moodiness and would therefore leave her or not enter into the relationship in the first place because of it. If you are an unsuccessful who continues to date super successful people that make you feel lesser, it's really important to ask yourself this question. What bad thing would happen if I were to become responsible, successful, and attractive? You will find that unsuccessfuls feel that if they were to become successful, then other people would have no incentive for them to be inside their lives. Unsuccessful people feel this way for a great many reasons. That's why if you're an unsuccessful, it's super important to ask yourself this question. If I were successful, responsible, and attractive, why would people not want to be with me? You can see right here why the successfuls and the unsuccessfuls are such a perfect match, a match made in heaven, in fact. It's because the difference between them is only skin deep. If you look deeper, you find that they mirror each other exactly. They have the exact same vibration relative to their view of themselves. In a universe bound for expansion, they perfectly mirror the unhealed and shadow aspects of each other, so that they can become aware of what needs to be integrated. Self-approval is a must for both parties. The best exercise for this is done when you wake up. What I want you to do is to be brutally honest about what you can't stand about yourself. Physical features, emotional features, personality quirks. And every morning I want you to pick one thing from that list and find approval for it. The more you can write down on this list, the better. It's especially helpful when these things come from the list of answers that you gave to the previous questions that were asked in this episode. Feel free, if you don't think that you can think outside the box enough, to elicit the help of other people to do it with you. For example, let's say that I've already decided at some level, in my core, if I'm being brutally honest, that I'm dark. And I don't like that about myself. Your list might read something like this. I have courage. I'm not afraid of the dark side. I fear less in life because I'm familiar with darkness. You must have the darkness of night to see the light of the stars. I have a better idea about what happiness is because of the contrast. I break people out of their monotony and captivate their attention. I'm not surfacey, I'm deep. I can accompany people through their most difficult and real issues. I don't have fear about delving into other people's psyches. Black is source energy. It gave birth to the light. Alchemy. I transformed the dark into light. Dark is the most transformative energy. All frequencies are contained within dark. I am always peering into the shadow of life. This means I live a more real life than most. If I am dark, and I live in the dark, I have released resistance to the dark, and so I'm light. The more you can think of, the better. The point is, I want you to put anything on this list, as long a list as you can think of, that genuinely makes you feel better about whatever trait you disapprove of within yourself. Aside from the lack of self-worth that is inherent on both sides, the major issue when it comes to successfuls and unsuccessfuls is that they feel like love is a transaction, a business deal. Something must be gained on both sides. They don't understand that love can be given freely, regardless of whether you give something back or not. They do not see love as something that can be given without incentive. What these people seek in love is not love. It is, in fact, mutualism. Mutualism is not love, but providing something beneficial for someone can be a good excuse for them to focus positively towards you. That's just the problem. It's conditional. This mutualism is inherently painful because it makes unconditional love impossible. The second you receive love for something you do, you acknowledge subconsciously that you are unlovable for your being. Love is a unilateral experience. It is the state of unconditional presence. It is the state of positive focus towards something, and that positive focus unites one with their eternal self and also with the person they focus positively towards. That positive focus does not have to be dependent upon what the other person does or does not do. It is possible to focus positively towards and have positive feelings for an autistic child who is in fact throwing a fit. Positive focus is always about the giver, not the receiver. We did not get unconditional presence and positive focus from our parents when we were young, unless we were doing something to achieve or attain or earn that positive focus. We now do not know how to unconditionally love someone any more than our parents knew how to unconditionally love someone, and I promise you, they didn't. Love is the word we use when what we really mean is mutualism. And there's nothing inherently wrong with mutualism. After all, it inspires unity and supports oneness. But love and mutualism are two different parts of a partnership, two different ingredients to a good relationship. And if our love is based on and dependent on mutualism, then you can be sure that the relationship will never be secure and never be enjoyable, because love becomes dependent upon you having something good to offer and upon you keeping up your end of the bargain. Have a good week.